Daniel Jones just made NFL history in his first game with the Indianapolis Colts. A perfect offensive performance. Every single drive ended in points, something we haven't seen in nearly half a century. It was the kind of debut that makes you stop scrolling, sit up, and ask, wait, what? Daniel Jones? The same guy who spent 5 years in New York getting labeled a bust? Yes, that guy. The story of Daniel Jones is one of doubt, ridicule, small flashes of hope, and years of frustration. And now, out of nowhere, redemption may be knocking. The Giants drafted him 6th overall in 2019. That decision is still remembered as one of the most shocking picks in recent memory. Almost no one saw it coming. Analysts had him graded as a late first-rounder, maybe even second round. Fans were furious. At the draft party in MetLife Stadium, boos rained down. One Giants fan buried his head in his hands as the camera panned. Another threw his hat on the ground in disgust. Twitter was a firestorm. Dave Gettleman, the Giants' general manager at the time, defended the pick by saying, "I know for a fact there were 2 teams that would have taken him before 17. But the reaction around the league was clear. This was a reach. And Daniel Jones had been thrown into the NFL spotlight with a target on his back before he'd ever taken a snap. From day one, the expectations were unfair. He wasn't just supposed to be a good quarterback, he was supposed to be the next Eli Manning. The Giants hadn't had stability since Eli's decline, and the pressure to replicate the success of 2 Super Bowls hung like a shadow over the rookie. And yet, in his first season, Jones gave fans a glimmer of hope. The moment that defined it, Week 3 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, his first career start. The Giants were down by 18 at halftime. Jones took over. He threw for over 300 yards. He ran for 2 touchdowns, including the game winner on a fourth-quarter scramble. The Giants won 32-31. The nickname was born Danny Dimes. For a brief, electric moment, it looked like the Giants had found their savior. But as fast as the hype rose, the flaws surfaced. Jones ended his rookie season with 24 turnovers. Fumbles became a nightmare. Strip sacks, blindside hits, botched pocket movement. He just couldn't hang on to the ball. The flashes of brilliance were undeniable, but the mistakes kept piling up. That theme would define the next several years. In 2020, his sophomore year, the struggles continued. He threw just 11 touchdown passes the entire season. That's less than some quarterbacks throw in 3 games today. He missed 2 games with injury, and the Giants finished 6-10. Fans were restless. The media hammered him, and inside the locker room, questions started about whether he could be the long-term answer. In 2021, things somehow got worse. The Giants' offensive line was a disaster. Jones was under constant pressure. He took shot after shot, rarely had time to read defenses, and once again dealt with injuries. He played in only 11 games, throwing for 10 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. The Giants' offense was flat out unwatchable, finishing 31st in the league in scoring. The carousel of coaches didn't help. First Pat Shurmur, then Joe Judge, then Brian DeBoll. 3 different voices, 3 different systems, 3 different plans for fixing Jones. Each year, a new reset button was hit, and Jones never found stability. By the time DeBoll arrived in 2022, many believed Jones's career in New York was already finished. But DeBoll, fresh off developing Josh Allen in Buffalo, worked a small miracle. He simplified the reads. He leaned on Jones's legs, designing quarterback runs. He emphasized short, efficient throws. And for once, it clicked. Jones had his cleanest season, 15 touchdowns, just 5 interceptions, over 700 rushing yards. Most importantly, the Giants made the playoffs. And not only did they make it, they won a playoff game against the Minnesota Vikings. Jones threw for 301 yards and 2 touchdowns in that game. He looked poised. He looked confident. For a moment, it looked like the Giants had finally unlocked him. The reward? A massive 4-year contract worth $160 million, over $40 million per year. For a quarterback who had been more question mark than answer, it was one of the riskiest deals in Giants history. And then came 2023. The bottom fell out again. Jones was battered behind a line that gave up pressure at one of the highest rates in the league. He struggled with turnovers again. He missed time with a neck injury, then tore his ACL late in the season. The Giants' offense collapsed without Saquon Barkley carrying the load, and the media storm returned with vengeance. Fans who had briefly celebrated the playoff win turned on him again. Talk shows mocked the Giants for handing him $40 million a year. Worst contract in football was thrown around daily. By the end of the year, New York was done. The same boos from draft night were back, only louder. Daniel Jones's New York chapter was closing. And that's how we get here. The Giants had seen enough. They decided to move on. Jones was traded away, a failed experiment in their eyes. And suddenly Daniel Jones, the quarterback once mocked, booed, and discarded, was in Indianapolis. Now let's talk about the Colts, because this matters too. Since Andrew Luck's shocking retirement in 2019, the Colts have been in quarterback hell. Phillip Rivers for 1 year, Carson Wentz for 1 year, Matt Ryan for 1 year, a failed draft pick in between. Nothing stuck. Every season felt like a Band-Aid. So when Jones became available, the Colts saw something different, a reclamation project, a quarterback who had shown flashes but needed a fresh start. A guy who still had athleticism, still had an arm, but had been broken by New York's chaos. Indianapolis was offering him something he never had in New York: stability. Head coach Shane Steichen is known for crafting quarterback-friendly systems. He did it with Justin Herbert as a rookie. He did it with Jalen Hurts in Philadelphia. Now he had Daniel Jones. Week 1 against the Miami Dolphins was supposed to be a simple test, maybe a controlled game plan. Keep things balanced, don't make mistakes. But what happened instead was history. Jones ran for 2 touchdowns. He threw a perfectly placed 27-yard strike to Michael Pittman Jr. He extended plays with his legs. He kept the offense on schedule. And most importantly, every single drive ended in points. That hasn't happened since 1977. The disbelief was everywhere. Was this really Daniel Jones? The same guy New York couldn't wait to run out of town? For Colts fans, it was like stepping into a dream. For Giants fans, it was like watching your ex suddenly glow up after the breakup. And so now the question is everywhere. Can he keep it up? There are reasons to believe this could be real. For one, Indianapolis has a legitimate offensive line. Jones finally has protection, something he never had in New York. Second, the run game is strong, led by Jonathan Taylor, which prevents defenses from simply keying in on him. Third, the system is built for him. Quick reads, rollouts, designed runs. It plays to his strengths and hides his weaknesses. For the first time in his career, he isn't forced to be a hero. He's simply asked to execute. But the doubts are real too. Daniel Jones has always struggled with consistency. For every strong game, there have been 2 or 3 duds. He's battled injuries nearly every season. Defenses will watch this film and adjust. And sustaining success in the NFL is always harder than creating one magical moment. There are success stories he can look to. Ryan Tannehill was left for dead in Miami, only to become a Pro Bowler in Tennessee. Geno Smith went nearly a decade as a backup before reviving his career with the Seahawks. Sometimes a change of scenery is all it takes, but there are cautionary tales too. Matt Flynn threw 6 touchdowns in a meaningless game for the Packers, earned a huge contract from the Seahawks, and was never heard from again. Nick Foles had one of the greatest Super Bowl runs of all time, but couldn't sustain success. 1 game, 1 month, 1 season, it doesn't always last. And that's where Daniel Jones is now, at the crossroads. The Giants believed his story was finished. The Colts believe it's just beginning. His debut was more than just a win. It was a message. Maybe, just maybe, this quarterback isn't done. For New York fans, the sting is real. They spent years watching him flounder, only to see him walk into Indianapolis and immediately succeed. For Colts fans, the excitement is cautious, but real. They know they've been down this road before with quick fixes, but this feels different. Daniel Jones' Colts debut wasn't just about football. It was about redemption, about second chances, about rewriting the narrative when everyone else says it's over. And yet 1 game does not erase 5 years. 1 game does not erase the turnovers, the injuries, the boos. 1 game does not make a career. Now the pressure shifts again. Can Daniel Jones do it in week 2? Can he survive when defenses adjust? Can he stay healthy through a full season? Can he finally prove New York wrong? The NFL is unforgiving. It chews players up, spits them out, and rarely offers second chances. But every so often, a quarterback gets a fresh start. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Daniel Jones has been given that rare second chance. And if his first game in Indianapolis is any sign, he's determined to make the most of it. So what do you think? Can Daniel Jones actually keep this up? Can he finally live up to the hype that once surrounded him on draft night? Or did we just witness the peak of his career in a single perfect game? Either way, this story is far from over.